on the 408. He had a fantastic time. He went to the line in 7th place, having qualified very, very well indeed. But let's get this gate dropped here. Charging down. Oh, riders upside down already on that very sticky start straight. Riders up on the bank. Looks like it was Raffini up there, the 669. But riders, as soon as we got 10 yards, 15 yards out of the start straight, but leading the way on the 724, Jakobs Kubelin's a 252-stroke Yamaha, leading the way. Zanots there is in 2nd position on the 716 in front of a pretty much packed crowd here this weekend in Mantova. Up on the pegs, the rider in orange. Smulders there in 3rd place, so he avoided the carnage next to him down the start straight. Hopefully those riders are okay. There's Langenfelder, Valerio Latta in there as well, I think. But Kubelin's on the 2 smoke, leading the way in his first race of the season. On that infield section, they'll go right and then, after that tabletop, right, then left, and then up the hills for the first time. Who was the rider that went down there? Wolvort. So Jens Wolvort cartwheeling. Feeling confident coming into this weekend as well when I spoke to him yesterday and this morning. Jens Wolvort doing a lot of riding, getting the laps in, the miles, the testing. But back up front here, the Eikma hole shot, Jakobs Kubelins on the 724 from Latvia. 716 there. Noel Zanots on the Venru KTM, looking to find his way past quickly, but yeah, heavy conditions again, these pre-season races. The weather hasn't been kind. I won't say just in Northern Europe, but Southern Europe as well. Everybody getting a dose of weather at some point, certainly in January. Kubelin's the gap, less than a second, as you can see, between him and Zanots. Smulders still there in 3rd. Filippo Mantovani in 4th. Alexi Fueri on the Beta 2-stroke is in 5th. Langenfelder, your defending world champion, is in 6th. Luca Raffini has been pushed back to 7. Nicola Manini is 8. Simone Mancini is 9. Kaz Volt in 10th on the TM. Then we've got Rossi, Marc-Antoine Rossi in 11th place. Casper Lindmark, Max Ernica, Alessandro Traversini, Casimir Henderson, Marcus Kokins, Mattia Nardo, Francesco Bassi and Josep Pan, with Dau van Mechelen rounding out your top 20. Valerio Latta may have been the other rider with Jens Wolvort that went upside down the start straight. So plenty of time to run then in this 25-minute plus 2-lap race. But it's Kubelins who leads the way. Lean, clean and pristine as he does so. No speck of dirt on his goggles or on the top of his helmet, on the number boards, leaving all that right. Over on the far side, this was, Latta. It was Latta's bike that went cartwheeling. So Latta then, currently down in 39th place. He went down with Jens Wolvort. Ferruccio Zanchi may have got involved in that as well, because right at the back, Latta, Zanchi and Wolvort, we saw Wolvort pushing his bike back, couldn't get it fired back up into life as a result of that. But Jakobs Kubelins with the Eikma hole shot, and he's starting to pull clear of Noel Zanot, who is coming under attack from Scott Smulders on the 408. Smulders got points in MX2 last year, ended up 23rd in the championship chase. Got a best overall result of 15th. That was, of course, in the Netherlands in his home round. But all of a sudden, Kubelins back under attack here in that fight for the lead. And Zanots looking to go around the outside of him. Can't find a way through, though.
Sì, intanto Marco Giuliano Boschi, perché il loro pilota è scattato in testa con una piattaforma, come avete detto voi, ancora un po' arretrata, diciamo, di moto, una 2 metri dei tempi Yamaha. Giuliano, we see your rider starting first and with a Yamaha 250 two-stroke.
Yeah, definitely good start. Yeah, what a way to start the season. First race for him, first year in 250. For sure the bike can help a bit in these conditions, but yeah, now the race is long and we see how it's gonna end up.
Ok, so finger crossed.
Thank you.
Dice che comunque la gara è iniziata molto bene e speriamo che diciamo il suo pilota tenga e continui a performare così. A te Marco.
I just saw as we came back from that interview going into that long right-hander, Zanot went missing, the gap opened up and we've just seen there the back shot of Zanot's just parked trackside trying to get himself fired up into life. So I'm not sure if that bike has just skipped a beat. But either way, the JK Yamaha of Jakobs Kubelins, who got third overall at the final round of the 125 European Championship last year, his only podium, his first podium in the division, before he moves up into EMX 250, of course. But yeah, Giuliano Boschi there just saying, obviously great to get this season underway like that. Yes, it's his first race, and of course, it's going to be a long race as well. And he is in with some MX2 top talent as well. Smulders closing in on him now that he's got rid of Zanot. So Zanot sent out of second place. And not sure if he's rejoined, we'll keep an eye on that. But that promotes Scott Smulders now up in the second, Alexi Ferreri third, Langenfelder fourth, Filippo Mantovani is fifth, Simone Mancini, Luca Raffini, Kaz Volt, he will cross the line in eighth place, ninth for Nico Manini, and 10th Max Ernica. Marc-Antoine Rossi waiting for him to come through as well, and he has gone missing, so he's dropped out of the top 20. Zanot re-emerges in 13th place. Great start though for the 724 from Latvia. Some serious Latvian talent coming through. For many, many years, all of that pressure has fallen on the shoulders of the 2017 MX2 World Champion Paul Jonas, of course, who's now in the Premier class. Bit of a moment here. Yeah, there was Zanot. That was when he went down. And we were looking at it from the other angle. So he did pick himself up, but we were midway through that interview with Giuliano Boschi when Zanot went missing. Just looking down the order, Valerio Latta, he's up into 29th place. Honda HRC, Ferruccio Zanchi, who finished third overall a week ago, came here this weekend now without Sasha Kunin, as second in the championship. And obviously it doesn't look like he's going to score points in this first race. Ivana van Erp has dropped down to 39th. So a little bit of work there then. A couple of mistakes for Ivana van Erp, but no such dramas for this guy at the moment. Jakobs Kubelins over the line. It's going to be 4 laps complete. His lap time last time around was a 2:05.5. Smulders, though, a 2:05.207. Gap 1.3 as they hit the line. Smulders all over the back of the Latvian now. Just a couple of stabs at that turn on that 252 stroke. Yes, it's a little bit lighter, a little bit snappier, more responsive. But is this just coming down to first season nerves, first race of the season nerves for Jakobs Kubelins? A little bit of arm pump in there as well, because as we say on a multitude of occasions, you know, whether it's your first race of the year, there is no substitute for actually getting behind the gate and getting the heart rate going, getting that intensity built up. You can do all the laps you want in training, but you can't replicate the intensity of a race. A moment there for the 724 as he came into land. A little bit of an OJ, switched across to the left, managed to keep it on 2 wheels though, but that has allowed Smulders of the Netherlands just to get that little bit closer as they head down the far straight uphill for the 5th time. Ferreri looking good in 3rd at the moment, the Frenchman on his beta. So a couple of 2 smokes in there. first and third. And then coming back through this way, Langenfelder, lead rider in shot here. So Langenfelder's got his way into third. He's found his way past Fueri. He goes after Scott Smulders, so biding his time. No stress for Langenfelder. As he hits the Omek jump, that's just going into the final turn. Here is the final turn, and Kubalins continues to lead from Smulders, who is going to be under attack from the 27 Red Bull KTM of Simon Langenfelder. And you'll see those two in the background going through the first turn, down past pit lane. But less than 15 minutes to go. Kubalins still leading the way for JK Racing Yamaha. Looking quite comfortable as well, isn't he? But I suppose these kind of conditions, heavy and wet, like a typical Latvian summer. Smulders getting a little bit more distance there. The Beta guys looking on because Fueri in fourth place. Fueri last week, 12th overall, didn't score in the first race, got an 8th in race 2. Langenfelder from out of nowhere, alongside Smulders, drops it across the front end, picks him off and moves into second as quick as that in the blink of an eye. And now sets his sights on Kubalins. He's just sat back, not too close to anybody, preserved his goggles, let the track come to him, let the race come to him as well. Hasn't risked too much on the opening lap just to get to the front. So this is good for Simon Langenfelder. Just able to pick up the pace when he feels that he needed to. You see the different lines he's got compared to Kubalins. Not going too heavy or too deep into some of those grabby berms in those corners. Just trying to stay a little bit lighter on the wheels. 6 laps complete then. Kubalins a 2:07.7, Langenfelder a 2:05, Smulders in the 2:07s as well. And that is the tail of the tape right there. Here is Valerio Latta, number 18. Honda HRC, he is now up into 19th. So considering he went cartwheeling down the start straight, 20 yards down into the race, he's picked himself up and showing a lot of grit and determination here. Over on the right-hand side as he looks to pick off another rider, probably Maurizio Scolo. Maybe he's already passed Scolo. Anyway, he's fighting his way through traffic. And if it is Scolo, oh, and he just folds the front, getting caught in unnecessary. Yeah, he'd already passed Scolo. He was going after Francesco Bassi. Bassi making it difficult.
Sì, sono qua
for
con Valentina Ragni, coordinatrice del team KTM Red Bull. Valentina, we saw Simon working hard to pass for the lead.
Yeah, Simon, he didn't have a great start, but we know very well that Simon is getting stronger and stronger from the middle of the race until the end. So I have no doubt that he would have done very well and maybe even winning.
Ok, thank you Valentina. Valentina dice che insomma Simon sta veramente cercando di recuperare, l'abbiamo visto anche passare in testa da poco. A te Marco per raccontarci il sorpasso.
Simon Langenfelder now leads the way. He's found his way comfortably past Jakobs Kubalins, but Valerio Latta just getting caught out there in that little exchange. It may have been Maurizio Scolo, or maybe even Paolo Maturano actually. Either way, it's cost him some positions. He was 19th, he's now down to 24th place. Valerio Latta up and down like a yo-yo. Through no fault of his own really, just getting caught in that start straight tangle. Ah, rider off the side of the track there. Back marker. Smulders once again eyeing up. Kubalins at the end of the lap. Kaz Volk, I think, in the yellow. So Kaz Volk in 7th position for TM Moto CRD. Simon Langenfelder, though, already opening up nearly 2 seconds in the space of a lap since finding his way past Jakobs Kubelins. Kubelins will try to stay there as long as he can, though, try and pick up as much information as he can. 364, Mattia Nardo. But Langenfelder coming towards us, just to the left. The next rider that will pop into view there to the right-hand side. Scolo getting a little bit loose. So it was Scolo then that caused the problems for Valerio Latta. He had a cheeky little look, didn't he? Saw he was there, and I think Latta just tried to cut back and just read the ground, the terrain wrong. Front went, back came around and face planted into the dirt like a starfish. Old Langer's there, having a sneaky look back, seeing the gap going out to more than 2 seconds between himself and Jakobs Kubelins. But interesting words there from Valentina Ragni, the team coordinator down at Red Bull KTM, where she just said, we know it wasn't a great start, but we also know that the second half of the race is where he does his best work. Gets stronger as the race goes on. Looks like he's had a good training program. Oh, these two. Gloves are off, Smulders around the outside, down the inside now into the next turn in the grey. And the 408, I tried to keep it in there and get across, but Kubelins dishing it back. But these two still fighting over that second place. Great riding for these two. Scott Smulders. 4th and a 5th last week in Sardinia, 5th overall. Zanots at the moment. Zanots down in 27th place. Obviously, he had that fall, picked himself up, rejoined, so he went from 2nd to 13th, but now out of the top 20 and has completed 7 laps. These guys are on lap 9, so whether he's gone into pit lane for some running repairs, who knows? But Scott Smulders, the Netherlands, now up into that second place. Dizzying heights. You get the nosebleed altitude, so much altitude there for him. Look at Langenfelder though, just solid on the bike. Good winter prep, good pre-season prep. 2nd overall a week ago in Alghero, northwestern Sardinia, with a 3rd and a 2nd. 2nd in the first place went to Ferruccio Zanchi. Where is Zanchi at the moment? He is now up into 15th place. So the Bedini Ducati, now 15th for the Italian. Langenfelder goes past the 5 of Brando Rispoli. Rispoli outside of the points, outside of the top 30 actually. He is in 31st place on his beta. But Langenfelder with just 6.5 minutes plus 2 to go. In control, in the driving seat. The Red Bull KTM rider knows that there's nothing really on these races, just gate drops, race pace. And just trying to figure out your racecraft as well, if you can improve on that. There's Fueri over on the right-hand side. He is still circulating in 4th position on his 2-stroke beta, same as his teammate actually, Brando Rispoli. Simon Langenfelder last time around 205.4. Scott Smulders 207.4. Kubelins 209. Alexi Fueri 210. Mantovani 209. Kaz Volk 208.073. Waiting for him to come through now, and he goes through in a 205.05. So quicker than Simon Langenfelder, your race leader. Good work that from Volk. Circulating in 6th position. So it's Langenfelder leads away, Smulders in 2nd, Scott Smulders after 9 laps. Jakobs Kubelins, who got the EICMA whole shot, he's in 3rd, the Latvian on a 252-stroke Yamaha. Alexi Fueri on a beta 4th, Filippo Mantovani 5th, Kaz Volk 6th, Simone Mancini in 7th, the lead Ducati 8th. is Nicola Manini. And then in 9th place, we have Giuseppe Pan and Sebastian Leoc in 10th place. Five minutes plus 2 laps to go. And Langenfelder just going to the inside. See how shiny, how slick it is under the rear wheel. As they get on the gas through that turn, it'll be the same on this one as well. Water runs downhill, of course, and these hills are naturally quite hard and firm. See how soupy it is just in that first little hole right at the bottom there as they G out. A lot of ruts, what you can't see from this angle. But if you had a camera up there looking down, there'd be about 178 ruts left to right. And actually, during the free practice and time practice session day, as they hit the finish line jump and then left onto the start straight, it was just one deep rut all the way through and a gradual curve right the way towards turn 1 from this point here. So if you weren't in that on your fast lap, anything either side of that was costly. But obviously in a race situation, you've got to create new lines anyway, and that just naturally opens up the racetrack.
Sì, perché Fabrizio Dini di Beta. Fabrizio, Beta is testing the 250 4-stroke, but is in fourth now with Alexis Fouery, that is on a 250 2-stroke. So both bike, both platform are really good. Beta sta testando la 250 4 tempi, ma adesso avete Fouery che è al quarto posto, che sta cercando di passare in terza posizione con la 250 2 tempi, quindi due buone piattaforme, bello per Beta.
Sì, sicuramente adesso per noi è un buon debutto di stagione. Alexis si era comportato già bene in Sardegna e qua adesso ha migliorato questa mattina con dei buoni tempi e si è presentato qua praticamente con una partenza al comando. Peccato che poi dopo alla prima curva è andato troppo là esterno, però dai, adesso sta girando forte, quindi speriamo che riesca a finire sul podio. Mentre per quanto riguarda il 54 tempi, adesso abbiamo Francesco Bassi che appunto al debutto col nostro 254 tempi, sta facendo una buona gara. Per lui chiaramente una gara non facile perché comunque il livello è abbastanza alto, però dai, siamo contenti di come sta andando sia lui che la moto, quindi dai, incrociamo le dita e speriamo che vada tutto per il meglio.
Ok, grazie mille Fabrizio. Fabrizio said that he has Federico Bassi, that is testing in race the 254 stroke and is doing a really good job on the bike, and also Alexis Fouery that almost had the whole shot and now is running fourth, so really good for Beta. A te Marco.
Tell you what, surprised the checkered flag hasn't gone out. Fabrizio Dini there, like Max Anstey. Ask one question, takes 10 minutes. But a lot of information in there as well as far as Beta. So anyway, Simon Langenfelder, number 27, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing, nearly 12 seconds clear of Scott Smulders, who still circulates in that second position, having got the better of Jacobs Kubelins a couple of laps ago. Kubelins now in third, Alexi Fouery only about 4 seconds further back in fourth place. Kaz Volk is up to fifth, Filippo Mantovani is sixth, Mancini, Manini, Giuseppe Pan, Sebastian Leoc, they ran out your top 10. Zanchi up to 14th now. Valerio Latta, who crashed down the start straight, got himself up to 19th, back down to 23rd or 4th, is now back into 19th. A lot of work for little reward. Tell you what, the brown envelope at the end of the day won't be that great, will it? For 19th place. But Langenfelder looking solid. Third, second in Sardinia a week ago. He's going to follow that up with a race win here, so 3-2-1 for the 27. But to be fair, looking down the entry list, other than Valerio Latta, you're probably thinking, you know, this is the kind of performance that you'd expect. But how much of a difference does having a race 1 week ago make as well, compared to someone like Valerio Latta, who was coming in hot, fresh, sharp, fast in time practice, maybe just a little bit too keen, maybe just wrong place, wrong time down the start straight, who knows. Mantovani there, bottom right. Mantovani in 6th place. He'll be riding the MX250 this year. 2-lap board goes out then. Tell you what, some of these berms, they would make a good fill-in in any pie, wouldn't they? Just thick, heavy, and you can't get a better pie than a New Zealand pie, I know that. Some of those turns very, very deep. All you need now is just a thick layer crust on top, and we sorted. Sunday lunch, anyone? 2 to go. Simon Langenfelder, other than that look back around about here about 5 laps ago when he got into the lead with a 2-second advantage. Hasn't looked back since, has he? Hasn't needed to. 15 seconds clear now, in control. Chooses to go high and wide where it might be a little bit firmer as he tries to navigate a back marker. Circulating on his penultimate lap then. No other changes anywhere, just looking. Zanchi up to 11th now. So the Bedini Ducati, or Ducati Benini rider, looking to try and break the top 10. Remember, he was one of those guys that crashed off the start with Jens Wolvort and Valerio Latta, or certainly got held up in it anyway. Zanots, who did come in for running repairs, has gone back out. He's broke himself into the points. He's now back up to 19th place. So an up-and-down ride, up-and-down race for the Hungarian. And you could say the difference between a good start and a bad start, but Noel Zanots did make a good start, just made that mistake whilst challenging Kubelins for the lead. 1 lap board goes out to Simon Langenfelder. Probably barely breaking a sweat. Sure, we'll probably hear from him at the end of the race. But Scott Smulders, what a ride for him. He'll be pleased with that, just building in confidence. A couple of good rides a week ago. 4th and 5th to the 5th and 4th of Janis Racelis, who was 4th overall on the Monster Energy Yamaha. Again, you don't have to sign up to the whole series. Some riders are going to do both the rounds here in this Italian International Championship. As we know from the Coonans, for instance, they're in France this weekend, so a little bit of hard pack racing. A little bit different competition as well down there in the south of France. Then they'll be all heading north to the Hawkstone Park International on the 15th. I think there's another international on that same weekend at Valence in France, and then the week before we head to Argentina. Remember, Argentina, the first MXGP round of the year in March. On that 7th and 8th of March in Argentina, literally the Sunday before, there is that international race in Lierop in the Netherlands as well. There's a couple of Spanish Championship rounds on in and around as well between now and then, just to get everybody fired up. Remember having the chat with Jason Thomas on our MXGP podcast a couple of weeks ago. We'll record the next one in about 10 days from now, but AMA Supercross, they do their whole winter off-season just training, and they go straight in first round of the championship, and that's it. And if you're off, you're off. At least here in MXGP, you've got the chance to do these traditional pre-season races just to build up a little bit of steam, get some arm pump, get some intel, rider and machine, just ahead of that first round of the World Championship. But Simon Langenfelder looking good out of the final turn. The Red Bull KTM wins comfortably here in race 1 at Mantova. Scott Smulders will cross the line in second when he hits the line any moment now. And Scott Smulders on the 4:08 goes through 17 seconds down, 16.8. So Langenfelder, Smulders, we wait for Jakobs Kubelins to come through on the JK Racing Yamaha in third. for the Latvian. Got off to a flying start, picked up the EICMA whole shot. He goes through in third. Fueri less than a second behind him in fourth, and Kazvolk charged his way back up to fifth place. We wait for Mantovani, Mancini, Manini, Giuseppe Pan and Ferruccio Zanchi, who looks like he will come home inside the top 10, so a good late charge for the number 73. So the Ducati Bedini racing rider. But we're still obviously waiting for the rest of the riders to come through. But so far, so good for Simon Langenfelder. Started in around sort of, 6th, 7th place, something like that. Hung there for a few laps, and then just slowly, gradually, methodically picked his way through. Came away with the lead when he found his way past Smulders and Kubelins. Zanchi came home in 9th place then, finding his way past his teammate Simone Mancini. In fact, Mancini may have fallen because Sebastian Leoc has gone through in 10th, Max Ernecker in 11th. Douwe Mechelen goes through in 12th. Here's what happened then in the first MX2 race. Over on the right-hand side, 3 riders went cartwheeling. Valerio Latta, Ferruccio Zanchi, and Jens Wolvort. Wolvort couldn't rejoin the race. He did pick himself up, but the bike looked like it was a little bit second-hand. But the EICMA whole shot went to the 724 Latvian on the Yamaha 2-stroke 250. Jakobs Kubelins, he was under pressure in the early laps by the 716 of Noel Zanots on the Van Rooij KTM. Scott Smulders was just behind in third. And then eventually, there was a mistake. And it was Zanots. He just lost the front on the other side, and we're going to get a replay of it here. Look, he was already out of control as he hit that single, pulls a 180, goes down, face plants, eats a bit of pie. Kubelins in, got a little bit of a gap, 2 seconds between him and there was a rear, it was a tag of the rear wheel, front wheel, wasn't it there? Scolo knew what he was doing, clipped Valerio Latta up to 19th at that moment, then went down to 24th and found his way back to 16th by the time the checkered flag fell. Latta around the outside of Kubelins, he'd already found his way past Smulders, and that was it. From there, there was no looking back, apart from there, of course. Smulders then got the better of Jakobs Kubelins, the young teenager. And these two went at it for a few more corners before eventually the 408 found his way through to take control of that second position, and that's how they would finish. Smulders second, Kubelins third. Alexi Fueri did gain in the background in fourth. Kazvolk found his way up into fifth, but no one a match for Simon Langenfelder. 17 seconds clear by the time the checkered flag fell. So Langenfelder picking up the full 25 points then. Scott Smulders second, Jakobs Kubelins, Alexi Fueri, Kazvolk, your top 5, Filippo Mantovani, Nico Manini, Giuseppe Pan, Ferruccio Zanchi, Sebastian Leoc, Max Ernecker and Douwe Mechelen, and then Paolo Maturano, Kokins, Zanots 15th, Latta 16th, and then we had Mancini and the rest of the riders there, although Mancini did drop down the order, didn't he, to 18th. So it was Zanots, Latta, Casper Lindmark, Simone Mancini, Maurizio Scolo, and Cesar Payne Diaz. I wish this fog would clear. So that was MX2, race 1. Of course, MX1 race 1 coming up in just a few moments' time. And the anticipated, long-awaited debut and return to action for Jeffrey Hurlings. Honda HRC now, of course.
Marco, sono qui con Giuseppe Pavesi, presidente del motoclub Tazio Nuvolari di Mantova. Giuseppe, un onore grandissimo sicuramente avere tutti gli anni la gara degli Internazionali d'Italia qua a Mantova.
Sicuramente è un grande onore e bisogna ringraziare la federazione. Anche abbiamo, diciamo, da parte nostra un grande circuito che ci permette di sopperire al brutto tempo e alle avversità, come oggi è venuto fuori una gara